Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 1 of What If Naruto Was super smart and emotionless, guys. I got this idea some time ago. I wrote it down, but I forgot the name, but you know yourself. So, thanks for the idea. So, here it is, guys. Part 1 of What If Naruto Was super smart and emotionless. Don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels if you're new. Yes, I indeed have 4 more channels, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So don't forget to go down in the description and check out Anime King 2, Anime King 3, Anime Print, and Anime Symbol. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now, guys. We begin this episode on an island, surrounded by nothing but water, as far as the eye could see. At each of the posts that led to the sandy shores was 2 guards at their posts, looking out. They were changing shift every now and then. They were on constant watch. Deep within the center of this island was a mansion, a large mansion. On each and every turn, there was a guard posted up. The person that was inside, as he stood, gazing through the window of his mansion, he was a man of average height, 5'9", dark spiky hair, and dark beady eyes. He was dressed in a rather expensive business suit, having just returned from a rather important meeting. This man's name was Kaido Agozu. Kaido Agosu recently acquired some information, documents, that was really vital and important to countless people. This is not the first time that he's been in a situation like this before. However, this was the first time that the documents that he had was so important. But he was going to do what he always do, sell it to the highest bidder. However, he had to remain alive to make sure he was there to enjoy the spoils of, well, selling that document. He wasn't here alone though. As the door opened up, an extremely beautiful, dark, green-haired woman entered with brown eyes. As she walked over towards him and embraced him, the both of them shared a kiss. This was his wife. He might be a man only out for himself to most people in the world, but he had a family. The door opened up as a young girl ran inside. She had green hair like her mother, on a much more darker scale though. It was hard to tell if there wasn't any light. She had her father's eyes. Kaido knew with this information that he would be hunted. That is why he made sure that him and his family was put somewhere safe. This was an island that not many know about. And none of his enemies know about this, and even if they did, Kaido did not cheap out on the security. After all, him and his family life was top priority, and no one could get within a few meters of this island without being spotted. After all, their boats would be spotted. It was one of the many reasons why this was the best spot to hide away, given its proximity away from the other islands, which made it special. Outside, as the water was calm and steady to the normal eye, but if someone possessed a powerful dojutsu enough, they would have saw this slightly unusual movement as something was moving at tremendous speed, racing towards the island. Whatever it was deep underwater. It came to a stop right at the shore. However, it did not emerge. What happened was a sound of the water shooting upwards like a geyser, distracted the guards at this perimeter. The two guards came to a stop in their patrol. The both of them turned their gaze. One of them whipped out his kunai. "What is it?" he asked. The other one looking through the binoculars. "I don't see anything at all," he said, when suddenly the water shot up once again like a geyser, as it blocked his view just for a few seconds. "It's just the water," he said. "It seems that the waves are coming in hard tonight." "Oh, I see," the other one said as he reached to put his kunai back down. However, the kunai fell from his hand, but it was caught. His partner was none the wiser as he turned. "Yeah, I guess you're..." The man was silent. He was cut off right as he spoke. His body did not hit the ground though. It remained standing, despite the fact that his throat was slit completely open, blood running down his clothing. However, chakra threads were holding him up. They held him in place like a puppet, attached to all of his joints. Not just him though, his partner as well, who was clearly dead. A figure stood in between them, as he was not visible by anyone else. He brought his hand up. Without any smoke, two clones appear. The clones were back to back in each of the guards, to make sure that they would not seem out of place. The two guards finally dropped down to the ground, as the clones remained there. The only thing that could be seen by the moonlight was blonde hair. The person descended downwards. Before he vanished, he just vanished in mid-air. Whether it was raw speed or a teleportation jutsu, one couldn't tell. The other guards were none the wiser of what was going on. As the shadowy figure moved from rooftop to rooftop, his feet barely touched the ground as he moved. There was no sound as he saw two guards up ahead making their rooftop journey search. He quickly dropped down as he proceeded to go under the roof. As he hid, when he noticed a guard walking, he slowly descended down and gripped the man by the throat and snapped. Before he pulled himself back up, the guard that turned the corner watched as his comrade fell. He was confused as he rushed over to see what was going on. However, the moment he reached, a blade tore through his skull and burst right through his chin. The blade was pulled out swiftly and silently. Once again, two clones were created. They were shadow clones, and yet there was no smoke. The bodies were quickly moved. The clones transformed into these two after seeing their face, and they took their spot. Just like that, this shadow went through the entire facility, slaughtering those that stood in his way, until he finally arrived towards the main mansion. Because of the number of guards that he had took down, he did not need to hide his presence that much anymore. As he saw the large group that surrounded the mansion, he pulled out 4 shurikens as he muttered under his breath, running through quick hand signs. Wind style, vacuum shuriken. He spewed wind chakra on the first shuriken before he thrust it with tremendous force. The hopeless guard was simply walking when sliced. He was torn in half. His partner quickly turned and jumped away, avoiding the shuriken, but while in mid-air, a sword took his head clean off. The other 4 quickly jumped to attention, but as they leaped forward to kill the intruder, 4 shurikens came out of nowhere. They thought that they dodged, however, they were coated by wind chakra. It tore into their flesh, removing shoulder heads, tearing them apart. That is when the person standing there simply poofed away, revealing that they were a clone. The real mastermind was still in hiding, watching. Now that they were all dead, he proceeded to jump down. He looked down towards the bodies for a moment before his feet started to slightly glow with chakra as he jumped, clearing the distance. As he landed on the building, he ran straight up He coated his fingers in wind chakra before he draw a circle on the glass and jump through, holding the piece of glass. As he threw it, it slammed into the throat of a guard. The other one turned. He thrust his kunai, however, the person dodged before he reached up and grabbed the handle of the kunai and threw it back. But the man deflected though with his own as he ran forward. They were about to engage in taijutsu when the man noticed that the kunai that he threw was still in the hand of this person, but he thought he threw it. That is when he heard something. The kunai that was actually thrown back towards him was a transformed clone that came out and slit his throat clean open. What had happened was, when he tossed his kunai, and when it was caught by the assailant, he switched it with a transformed clone and threw it back. So now the both of them were dead. His gaze followed through the entire place before he took off. While that was going on, Kaido was completely unaware. No alarms were sound, so everything was fine. Kaido was currently standing over his daughter's bed as he placed a kiss on her forehead, wishing her good night. He was about to return back to his bedroom with his wife when suddenly he heard something whisper in his ear. Move, and you're dead. Make a sound, and you're dead. Kaido remained perfectly still. I'm here for the Fulcrum files. Give them to me, and I will allow your family to continue living, and you as well. Is that understood? Close your right hand into a fist if you understand me. Kaido did so, as he was shaking. Whoever this was, he was able to bypass all of his security, which tell him that this was no normal person. And with his daughter life at risk, he had to do what the man said. Because if he did not, he was going to die, and there was a chance that he might use his family and kill them in the end. Walk. The person whispered as Kaido started to walk. Kaido proceeded to bring him towards another room as he placed his hand and opened the wall where there was a combination. He wrote in the code. There was a clicking sound as the wall opened up. Kaido pulled it open as there was money, jewelry, and gold all over. However, what the person wanted was in the center. It was on top of another set of files. Kaido was still trembling as the man took the file and started to go through it, while still behind Kaido so he could not see his face. Upon knowing that the information was what he came for, Kaido felt the man's hand vanish from his shoulder, and the feeling was gone. Kaido turned as he ran. His wife heard it as she came out. Honey, what's going on? All he did was ran past her as he rushed to his daughter's room. As he saw her on the bed, he breathed a sigh of relief. Honey, what's happening? His wife shouted at him. It's just, I thought, what's that? She said to him. Well, Kaido turned when he saw something right beside his daughter on the bed. He stepped forward. Boom! A critical explosion swallowed the family and swallowed the entire building. It triggered several other explosions that tear the entire place asunder. A distance away, standing on one of the guard posts, was the intruder, watching the remaining guards running as fast as they can to investigate what was taking place. The man, his face was finally revealed. He was 15 years old. He had blue eyes, piercing blue eyes. He had blonde spiky hair. The rest of his face was covered by a face mask. It was a testament to his skill, given the fact that he had such bright blonde hair, and yet absolutely no one knew that he was there until they were dead. With that, he teleported away. Time skip. The man that was known as the boogeyman of Konoha. The man that was wrapped in darkness. The man that knew it all. The man that was behind the scene. The man that cast the shadow to keep the leaf from quilling, the man that keep the last line of defense in the darkness. Danzo Shamura. There he sat, his face as calm and relaxed as ever, as he was sitting down, when suddenly someone arrived. The person was kneeling. Danzo waved a hand for the person to get to his feet. It was the same blonde-haired boy. He handed over the file as Danzo went through it. "Excellent," he said. "And as for Kaido himself," Danzo asked. "Eliminated, sir," the boy said in a calm voice as he spoke. "From the beginning to the end, always successful. This will be your last mission. In the darkness for some time, Agent Ghost," Danzo said. The so-called Agent Ghost face did not change despite what the man had said. Our conversation pertaining to what we spoke about with the Uchiha and the Hokage believing that it is time. It is now that it begins. What about Operation Exterminate, sir?" Ghost asked as Danzo calmly looked towards him. "Everything is already in the play. I have taught you everything I can. I have shown you what it takes to make this world work. I have shown you what it takes to make Konoha work. Yes, some will die for the betterment of the growth of this village. But in the end, Konoha shall emerge stronger and more powerful than ever as we cleanse ourselves of weakness. And I will be the one seated in the Hokage seat, with you as my side as my top lieutenant." Ghost did not say a word. "So for now, you have to play your part well. The world doesn't know what happened to you all those years ago, but they do know of your existence. So while your rank might be low, I want you to show the world despite your rank, you are a force to be reckoned with, a piece of the puzzle that makes up the great strength of the Hidden Leaf Village. Understood?" "Yes, sir." "So from now on, as you step out of the darkness and re-emerge into the light, I take the name that is given from you and return the one that you were given at birth. Welcome back, Naruto Namikaze," as a child nodded towards Danzo. Time skip. Hiruzen Sarutobi seated in his office. As he waited, he was waiting to meet with someone. A lot has happened in the past couple of years. So much. A lot revolve around the child of Minato and Kushina though. Minato and Kushina had a child, a boy. His name was Naruto Namikaze. When that child was 2 years old, they were once again pregnant. However, unlike the first time though, this time there was complications, and the Nine-Tail was set free upon the village. The young girl that they were supposed to have, she did not make it. A truly tragic affair. Minato had taken his son. At the time, Naruto was simply a young boy, not fully understanding everything around him. When the child had been retrieved, as the only survivor, he had the ceiling on his stomach. Hiruzen was not there. He did not know what take place. He was handling the internal affairs of the village. When he arrived, though, Naruto was the only one there, unconscious, the Nine-Tail sealed inside of him. Hiruzen did not know what happened for the others. The envoy with him had checked over the baby girl. However, she was no longer with them. Hiruzen couldn't even look at the scene. It was a truly dreadful one. When the news broke about the death of Minato, countless wanted Naruto's head. The world knew about him, the world knew about Minato's son, and now that he was the only one remaining, many wanted his head, believing that they couldn't allow him to grow, believing that he would become the same man his father once was, and it would affect them greatly in the coming future. There were so many assassination attempts when Danzo came to him with a proclamation. Jiraiya was still scarred by the death of Minato and Kushina. The man could have visited, but he chose to stay out of it. He was heartbroken and saddened by losing people once again. Hiruzen believed that he had no choice, despite the fact that he saw Danzo as someone that could not be trusted. He needed to fix the village. He needed to maintain the village. And he needed someone powerful enough to guide Naruto to be able to defend himself. So Hiruzen made a choice. He handed the young boy over to Danzo. Hiruzen had checked up periodically on the boy, and his growth had been truly impressive. The child took both aspects from his parents to the absolute limits. He was like a combination of the two. However, his mind made his skill, his techniques, everything else so much more deadly. Hiruzen had some skirmish with Danzo in the past to take down his root operation, but Hiruzen knew that Danzo was still doing his thing because Naruto was a part of it. He knew that, but he allowed it to happen, believing what Danzo did was for the great of Konoha. And the man just could not bring himself to kill Danzo despite all the man has tried in the past. That was just the kind of man that Hiruzen was. Jiraiya had returned a few years later, and he had been furious. The both of them were having a rocky time even now. Jiraiya did not like the fact that he handed Naruto over to Danzo. He hated that. His goddaughter died, and his godson was given to a maniac. The both of them argue about that. Jiraiya could not take Naruto, and Hiruzen had his hands full, and the assassination attempts would not stop. There was countless. Danzo had what they needed to keep Naruto safe, so Hiruzen stood firm on what he believed. However, Jiraiya did not like that in the slightest. The man was knocked from his thoughts when his intercom went off. "Sir, your next appointment is here. Send him in." The door opened up. Hiruzen hadn't seen him in a few months. However, he had spoken to Danzo on releasing Naruto back into his custody. The world knew that Naruto was still alive. They had no idea where he was or how much he has changed, but they knew that he was still out there. Danzo gave him the 100% go ahead, as he believed the boy could handle himself against any threat that the world has to throw his way. Danzo had changed the boy, his perspective and his mind. Hiruzen knew that this was going on, but he did not interfere, as he believed that it was for the best, given how many people out there that wanted Naruto dead. And he knew that the child had to grow up. He had to grow up fast. He couldn't afford to have a normal childhood. But there was no point going over that now. He already made his decision, and he had to live with that. The child stepped inside. His piercing blue eyes was the first thing that caught Hiruzen's attention. It was like he was looking beyond your eyes and into your soul. He had blonde spiky hair that stopped right above his shoulder, with two bangs coming down the side of his face. He was wearing a black shirt that was connected to a lower face mask that covered his face as it went down towards his arms. It was long sleeve. He had on black fingerless gloves with metal plating on the back. He was wearing black Anbu style pants with sandals. As he stepped forward, "Hokage-sama," he said, as he greeted the man respectfully. "Ah, Naruto, it's nice to see you," he said. The child was responsive, but his gaze was just so cold. Hiruzen knew that he meant nothing by it but his eyes. They did not show any shred of emotion. "When we last spoke, I told you what I see for you in the future. I'm sure that Danzo spoke to you about how we are going to be taking things and the level that you're going to be placed on." "Yes, sir," said Naruto. "And how do you feel about this?" Hiruzen asked. Naruto looked at him. "What does my feelings have to do with this assignment?" Naruto asked. "Well, nothing really, but Given what you were doing before this, it seemed like you're dropping down quite a few levels and being placed with two kids who are both around 3 years younger than you. So what do you think about that? Can I speak freely? Said Naruto. Yes, of course, Hiruzen said. Well, sir, that doesn't really matter, said Naruto. It is my goal to serve Konoha. I am a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf. My feelings must not be put into consideration revolving around the mission that you give me to perform. Hiruzen did not like this one bit. He knew that Danzo's effect on the boy was great, but it seemed like he took away every single aspect of what would be an emotion from the boy. Any self-choice. Hiruzen decided to test something for himself. Naruto, what if I tell you to end your own life right now? What will be your response to that? The boy did not budge an inch. No flicker of emotion, he was just so calm. That would be illogical. Hiruzen was surprised by that answer, given all the time and effort that was spent in training and preparing me to face the outside world, having me as a great asset and then asking me to take my own life. It would be an illogical thing to do. I see. Hiruzen said, looking at the boy. I sign the agreement to place you in that organization, to have Danzo mentor you. And I know that what you have endured must have been hard. Yes, it has been, said Naruto. However, that is in the past right now. Things are different now. And because of that, I have the capability to keep myself safe and my soon-to-be comrades when I'm placed on a team. Hiruzen nodded, hearing that. The moment you're reintroduced back to the field, the moment news start to spread around, there will be countless others that will fire up their old grudges and come after you. So you have to be on constant alert, I'm afraid, until they know that you're able to properly defend yourself. Yes, I understand. I also want you to make friends, Naruto. You've been hidden away for so long, I presume, that you have no connection or bonds to the people that you spent time with. Do you understand the term of friendship, he asks. Yes, I understand it, but I don't have any friends, as you say. So I want you to make some, Hiruzen said. There will be plenty of time for you to do so. You will be on a team with comrades, those that you will fight for, those that you will survive with. I want you to become friends with them and ingrain yourself into society. I know you've been focused on only one thing. Focus on the darkness for so long now, away from the public eye view. But now that you're back, there will be a lot of people that wish to just see or talk to you. Can you handle all that emotion and attention? Hiruzen said, wanting to see how far the boy, emotional capacity, would be able to be stretched, as he really wanted to know. Danzo was rather vague on all of his answers involving this child. I will do my best, sir, said Naruto. The answer was not what Hiruzen was looking for, but it will do for now. Time skip. As Naruto opened the door to his new apartment for the time being, as he stepped inside, he had a bag in his hand. As he moved inside, gazing around, he switched on the light as he walked around, checking out the place. He suddenly spoke to himself. It seems they would be staying for the night. Perhaps he doesn't trust you. A voice spoke back to him. I don't think that is the case, said Naruto. I think he doesn't trust Danzo and what he has done to influence my growth. Well, he would be right. After all, at the end of the day, you will also be responsible for killing the Hokage. The gall that you had to talk right to his face, without budging in the slightest. It does show how much you have changed. It does show how much that man have stripped away from you. Or maybe you never understood them to begin with. What's the point, said Naruto. Emotions just get in the way. Without them, my record is flawless. I've never failed a mission. I've never hesitated. There is nothing to stop me from achieving my goal. Well, let's see how long you can keep up the faking for. The voice said to him. Naruto walked as he started to unpack. This is a wager that you will not win, I'm afraid, he said, as he unpacked his stuff. The next morning, everyone was in the classroom. Alright, quiet down, class, Haruka said. I know that you're all anxious to take your tests. But before we begin, there is a new student that will be joining us. New student? But we're about to graduate, Kiba Inuzaka said, confused. Well, this student has been off the grid for some time. I'm afraid I can't reveal anymore. This is sensitive information, only known by the Hokage and a few others, he said, as they start to whisper amongst themselves. I presume most of you heard the rumors going around Konoha about the fourth Hokage having a son that none of you have ever seen before. Wait, that's true? Ino said. Yes, it is. I myself have no idea where he has been, so do not ask me, and I'm sure he won't tell you himself, unless you want to go to the Hokage himself, he said, giving them a look. It was a solid statement to make sure none of them asked about it. As he went to the door and opened it up, he was speaking to someone outside. Haruka came back inside, and then someone else stepped in. Naruto was no longer wearing the face mask, and it showed that he had 3 thin whisker marks on both of his cheeks, which made him look like a cat. However, now that his face was fully exposed, all the girls, which were 2 years younger or some of them 3, they immediately developed a crush on him, as they started to swoon to his words when he spoke. Good morning, everyone, said Naruto. My name is Naruto Namikaze, and it's a pleasure to meet you all. A lot of screams broke out, forcing Haruka to quiet them down. Sasuke Uchiha glanced towards the newcomer, wondering what was his deal. He would not say that out loud, but why the Hokage took him off the grid? That was an interesting thing to know. As Naruto's eyes swept around the room, Haruka told him to have a seat. That is when Mizuki came inside. The man seemed surprised. The reason why Naruto did not come early was because they were having him do the written tests. Mizuki handed the paper over to Haruka, and to the man's shock, everything was correct. As Haruka looked towards him, he was also shocked as well. No answer was false. Everything was perfectly written and everything was perfectly done. This kid must be some sort of genius. Well, they shouldn't be surprised. He was the son of Minato Namikaze after all. Alright, Haruka said. Let us begin the second test then, shall we? Time skip. At the end of the day, Naruto had his headband tied around his head as he was walking when someone was standing there. As he turned to see that there was more people, it was a boy with a dog on his head. He was the second heir to the Inuzaka clan, Kiba Inuzaka. So he said, you're the son of the fourth Hokage. As Kiba stepped forward with this aggressive vibes about him, his arms folded. That was until Ino whacked him over the head. Ow, he cursed, turning towards her. That's not how you speak to someone, you idiot. And remember, you fool, the fourth Hokage risked his life to save us all. So next time, don't go judging someone's sacrifice that casually. As Kiba whined and glared at her, she extended her hand. Sorry about my idiotic classmate over here. His name is Kiba Inuzaka, and I'm Ino Yamanaka, she said, as she extended her hand. It's a pleasure to meet you, said Naruto. Ino felt his hand as she smiled. This guy was much different from Sasuke, and the fact that he was older was actually a lot better for her. Well, in her mind, that is what she believed, as she was in her own little world. She never thought that she would meet someone better than Sasuke, but his looks were on par, maybe even greater than Sasuke. Over to the side was Choji Akimichi. As she started to introduce them one by one, Choji waved at Naruto eating his chips. And this is Shikamaru Nara. Shikamaru yawned, as he couldn't even use the effort to lift his hand. He just wanted to head home. And this is Sakura Haruno, she said, introducing Sakura. Hinata caretaker came for her, so you'll meet her tomorrow. I'm Shino, Aberami. Oh, Shino, I almost forgot about you, Ino said, not even notice Shino standing there. Well, it's nice to meet you all. I hope we can be good friends and good future comrades, said Naruto. As a group, seemed to agree with that. Well, if you excuse me, I'll see you all tomorrow, he said, as he proceeded to leave. They all looked at each other once he was gone. He's perfect, Ino said. Tch, I don't see it, said Sakura. Yeah, he's nice and all, but he's not perfect. The only one that's perfect is Sasuke. As Ino seemed to think about it. Well, he's perfect to me, she said, as she seemed rather happy. Tch, I don't know what the big deal is, Kiba said. I wonder how strong he is. Given that the Hokage took him away from the public eye, maybe he also trained him personally as well. A fight between you two will only end in one way, with your defeat. You don't know that. I've gotten a lot stronger since I joined the academy. Shikamaru yawned. Alright, I'm gonna head home, he said. Me too, said Choji, as they start to separate. As Ino started to imagine her and Naruto wedding. She did this stuff. She already imagined Sasuke and her wedding as well. Time skip. As Naruto stood on top of the apartment building, someone appeared behind him. We have a problem, the person said. Naruto did not turn. We had a traitor in our midst for some time now. But it seems like he's about to strike any day soon now. Who is it? The academy teacher. His name is Mizuki. Our Lord has been watching him to see if he can use him for his own personal gain. However, he is no longer useful, so he must be discarded. No evidence, and no sign that you were behind the attack. Understood, said Naruto. The person vanished as Naruto stood there. I thought they wouldn't be showing up to give you any more missions. Know that you're out. You know the statement already, said Naruto. One never truly leaves the darkness behind. Well, I guess you will be forever tainted then. I presume that much, said Naruto, as he then proceeded to vanish in a burst of speed. Meanwhile, Mizuki was plotting on how he was going to get the scroll. He was not alone though. He was with one of his so-called friends. Mizuki was going to betray him in the end because if anyone was going to get the power that Orochimaru was going to be bestowed upon him, it will be him and him alone. This man got working as a night shift guard to the tower, so he would be his way in. And Mizuki was going to get the scroll and use him as bait in order to get away, and no one would know anything. The best time to do this was a day from now. There was going to be a meeting that the Hokage will be attending. Most of his guards would not be there. That meant Mizuki heard something as he turned around. The man Another Chunin looked around as well. What was that? He said. The both of them were situated within the forest. It must be an animal or something. Mizuki did not take his words though, as he kept on looking around. After all, he couldn't afford anyone to find out about this. You're probably right, he said. When Mizuki turned back around though, there was no one standing there. Jinko, where the hell are you? He said. Jinko! Mizuki felt something fell right on his face. As he touched it to realize that it was blood. When he then gazed up into the tree, he saw someone standing on the branch where Jinko was hanging from. Mizuki did not see the face properly, but he did see the eyes. One of them were cold and blue, and it seemed to be resonating with his power. However, the other one, it was red. Wait, is that a Sharingan? Mizuki thought to himself. That was the final thing though that crossed his mind. As the person vanished, Mizuki decided to run. However, something didn't feel right. His legs were not responding to him. Wait, what the hell? Why was he now seeing the opposite way? Mizuki was so confused, not even knowing that he was already dead. His head was now being held by Naruto. As Naruto carried the head away, all the life leaving Mizuki. Time skip. Mizuki informed Iruka that he was not feeling so well. Yes, he was not feeling so well, so he stayed home for the time being. With that, the academy day went as usual, as Naruto was there. Iruka listing off the teams. Naruto already knew the team that he would be placed on the moment he heard the Uchiha's name. He also knew of the sensei as well, but the man and him have never met. In just one day, news had spread through Konoha like a wildfire that Minato's son has returned. Even coming to the academy, people stopped him in the streets. They say hi, they say hello to him, greeting him. As Naruto sat there, when he heard his name being called, he simply relaxed. Ino did not seem pleased. At least if she did not get Sasuke, give her Naruto. The two hottest guys in the class, and she got Choji and Shikamaru, the lazy bum. She sighed heavily. The team was the only one left in the class after an hour. What the hell is going on? Sakura argued with herself. Why was your sensei the only one to be late? Sasuke was calm. She got up as she made her way towards Naruto. Sasuke was not in a talkative mood. So I guess we're gonna be in a team together. We met yesterday, remember? Sakura Haruno, she said. Yes, I remember quite well, said Naruto, as she sat down. So what do you think is taking our sensei so long? I'm truly unaware, said Naruto. Damn it. Why do we have to get the late sensei? The moment she said that, the door opened up. Kakashi Hatake walked into the room. As he looked at them. My first impression of you all is that I hate you all, he said, causing Sakura and Sasuke to sweat drop. Naruto remained calm as ever. Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes. With that, he was gone. What? Sakura complained. That's all he has to say? After being so late? She cursed under her breath as they made their way. Once they were all situated down, Kakashi I smiled at them, seeing the bad mood that the other two were in. Naruto, on the other hand, as cool as a cucumber. Why don't we start with a bit of an introduction? Alright, he said. Tell me about your dreams, your hobbies, your goals. Why don't you go first, sensei? Sakura said to him. Alright, he said. However, nothing he gave made any sense at all. That would give them an insight on who he was. Both Sakura and Sasuke went. Sasuke's goal was to get revenge. Sakura was bumbling as he turned towards Naruto. My name is Naruto Namikaze. I guess I like to learn and discover new jutsus. Discover, said Kakashi. Yes, the basis of chakra and how they weave and twist to bend into the way that we desire by simply bending our hands in different formation. The topic has always interested me. As for my goals and future dream, I still haven't figured that out just yet. Right now I'm trying to become a good shinobi of the village. Kakashi nodded as he proceeded to explain about what was going to happen tomorrow as he dismissed them afterwards. As Naruto was going home, Kakashi appeared beside him and he started to walk. I presume you know who I am. Yes, you were a student of my father, correct? I was wondering if there was any bad blood between us. Given the fact that I know your father so well and yet I don't believe you have a conscious thought of me talking to you. Conscious thought, said Naruto. Yes, I'd been there when you were a baby. But since you've grown, don't worry about it, said Naruto. We all have separate life. And besides, my life has been really complicated. But it doesn't matter now, that was the past. Things are different now. And you're my sensei. I hope you can guide me down the right path. Kakashi was glad to hear that. This boy was much more mature and smarter than he thought. Kakashi nodded towards him as he told him to prepare himself for tomorrow. He's not his sensei just yet. With that, he was gone. Another win for you. The voice spoke to Naruto once again, playing your role perfect as usual. I wonder if there's anything you have slipped up on, or anything that you will slip up on to mess up your cover. Oh, and what are you gonna do about the disappearance of Mizuki and that other Chunin that you slaughter without a shred of mercy once again? Suddenly the voice started to laugh. Look who I'm talking to. The man that always have 1,000 plan, 1,000 backup plan, and 10,000 more cautionary plan just in case. Let's just see how all of this plays out. Naruto simply remained quiet. He was used to that voice by now. Time skip. Sakura was once again pissed. You're late, she yelled, as Kakashi arrived with a yo. Sorry about that. There was a black cat in my path, so I had to take the other way around, as the other two sweat dropped at his remark. Alright now, he said. Now that you're here, we can begin. Know that we're here, Sakura said. Kakashi simply eyed smile. Your job is simple. At the end of this timer, he said, all you have to do is to have one of these bells in your possession. Unfortunately though, the one that doesn't get a bell will be sent back to the academy. But, Sensei, there's only 2 bells. Excellent observation, he said towards Sakura. So that means one of us will get sent back, it doesn't matter what we do. Sasuke got on guard hearing that. Naruto expression did not change. Sakura was worried. From what they had said about Naruto, if he was personally trained by the Hokage, that meant he would be stronger than her, and she wouldn't be on a team with her Sasuke-kun. No, she couldn't allow that to happen. Remember now, come at me with the intent to kill, otherwise, you will not get a bell. Alright? At the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, they were gone. Kakashi pulled out his book. He was curious to see what Naruto was capable of, but he also made his way off. As Kakashi tried to pinpoint them, but to his shocking surprise, he couldn't find Naruto. But that couldn't be possible, given what he had sealed away inside of him. This was an information that was just known by a few, but Naruto would have massive chakra reserves, and yet Kakashi could not pick up on him, not in the slightest. It seems like he mastered the art of hiding himself. Kakashi had to wait though. Meanwhile, Sasuke was sitting under a tree, watching the sensei. He's gonna have to play this smart. That Naruto guy, if he was indeed trained by the Hokage, Kiba had been saying something about that. He would be a good comrade to have on his team. Someone that would not slow him down. Sakura was annoying, and if he could get rid of her, that would be good. Hey, Sasuke was rather shocked when he heard that, because he did not feel or sense anything. If this person was here to kill him, he would be dead. Sasuke turned as there Naruto was, standing on the tree. What do you want? Sasuke said. I want you to listen to me. If you attack him, you won't win. He's a Jonin. You're just graduating from the academy. There is no possible way that you can last against him. Sasuke grit his teeth. But even if you do somehow win, it would be for naught. What are you talking about? Sasuke said. The reason why this test is set this way is because they want us to fight against one another. What? Think about it. In the academy, what do they try to push the most? In terms of being a ninja, Sasuke wondered what he was talking about as he thought about it. Almost every time he could hear the word from Iruka. Teammates, he said. Exactly. He wants us to work as a team in order to get the bells, so we all can pass instead of fighting each other to get 2 bells for just the 2 of us. Sasuke thought about it. And what if that is not the case, he said. Well, if I'm wrong, said Naruto as he reached behind him and pulled out a scroll. This scroll contained a B rank, fire style jutsu. Something that I know you're quite efficient in. If I'm wrong, I'll give this to you. Where did you get that? That's for me to know. So, do you want to try my way first? Sasuke looked at the scroll. Fine, he said. But if you dare try to go back on your deal, you're gonna regret it. As Naruto simply nodded towards him. Laughter could be heard inside of Naruto's head. This stupid brat doesn't even know who he's talking to. You should show him. The voice said. You know I can't do that, said Naruto as he simply walked off. Meanwhile, Sakura jumped when she heard a voice as she turned to see Naruto. Sasuke-kan? She said with surprise. Come with us. That was all Sasuke said. Her eyes light up hearing that. Time skip. Kakashi watched as Naruto emerged from the forest. As Naruto was walking up towards him, the copy ninja was still focused on his book in his hand, but his gaze was looking at Naruto as well. Naruto stopped a few feet away from him. So you're going to be the first one to try? Well, let's see what you're capable of, said Kakashi. Are you not going to put away your book? I wouldn't want to ruin it, said Naruto. Oh, don't worry. It will be just fine, said Kakashi. Okay then, said Naruto. Slice! Kakashi was shocked as Naruto tore right through his book. The copy ninja crossed his arm as Naruto's feet slammed in his guard. The man was thrown away. Kakashi flipped several times as he landed. Naruto burst out of the foliage behind him. Kakashi spun as Naruto swiped. Kakashi aimed for Naruto's stomach, but Naruto pushed his hand down and flipped over him and brought his heel down. Kakashi rolled away as Naruto's feet caved in the ground, like it would have done to his skull. Naruto bounced off the ground and swung. The copy ninja crossed both of his arms as he was taken off his feet and thrown away. However, Naruto grabbed his hands and slammed him back down on his feet. The both of them brought their leg up and boom! As Naruto was still holding on to Kakashi. The copy ninja twisted trying to throw Naruto off, but Naruto pinned him and slammed him back down, as he could not get a leg up. Until Naruto finally released him and went for his throat. He pulled his face back as Naruto slashed his mask, leaving a cut right in it and one on his cheek as well, as Naruto thrust his fist forward until he dropped the kunai in his hand and he vanished. Naruto appeared behind Kakashi. The man was taken aback. He spun, but Naruto disappeared and reappeared where his kunai once was. The copy ninja couldn't believe it. Was that boom? Naruto sent him sailing. Kakashi flipped several times. As he landed, he had put his arm in the way, which was now feeling the effects. The kunai came bursting right to his face. Kakashi reached up and caught it, when he noticed at the end of it, boom! A violent explosion went off. The copy ninja reappeared. His left sleeve was torn. There was a few burns on his hand. As he was surprised, he substituted himself at the last possible moment, but the effects still reached him slightly. Kakashi looked up as he saw kunais hurling down towards him. That section of the forest erupted as Kakashi landed on the ground, when suddenly the ground erupted as Naruto clones appeared. They thrust and punched. He was right in the dead center of it as he clashed along with them, when suddenly one of them poofed to reveal Sasuke, who swung a fist to his face. Kakashi caught it and twisted as he threw him away. However, another Naruto appeared and kicked him back right down towards Kakashi. Sasuke blared through hand sign. As he released a fireball, the clones had grabbed onto Kakashi. He ripped himself out of the embrace, dispelling them and jumping away, when Sakura came swiping towards him, but he kneed her in the stomach, not too hard as he tossed her away. She rolled and landed. Kakashi landed as he looked around. He was sweating. He was on guard. He felt his heart skip a beat. It was the intent that he felt, and he saw the look in their eyes. He twisted just in time, as a few strands of his hair was sliced off. Kakashi turned and he met Naruto's eyes. The bloodlust, with such calmness, threw the man off. That is when he noticed that Naruto was no longer holding on to the kunai that he once had. Boom! Something crashed in his back. The copy ninja was thrown face first as he bounced across the ground and crashed hard. He quickly picked himself up, and there Naruto was, as the kunai embedded itself into the ground. Kakashi got back to his feet slowly. He underestimated Naruto. However, he was vastly stronger than he thought. He knew about the training, but this was not what he was expecting in the slightest. He expected to put his book away as he get into it, but not to have himself being roughed up like this. Granted, he was not using his Sharingan, but still, this was truly shocking. That is when he heard a sound. He was rather shocked when he saw Sakura holding up the bells in her hand. He blinked in shock as she walked over and handed them to Naruto. "We got them, Sensei," she said. She seemed rather happy. Sasuke was amazed as he saw Naruto take on Kakashi like that. Just what in the world? Kakashi looked down towards his waist as he blinked in shock. He could have sworn that he had defended the bell through that, but they were gone, as he couldn't believe it. As the group walked over towards them. "When did you..." "Just now," said Naruto, as he reached forward and grabbed the bells. Kakashi blinked in confusion as Naruto held the bells up. That is when he realized, "Release!" as he broke the illusion. Kakashi couldn't believe it. "When did you put me under a genjutsu?" "The senses are much easier to fool when it is experiencing an overload," said Naruto. Kakashi was baffled. For this boy to put him under an illusion to trick him to believe that he didn't possess the bells. Sakura had 2 rocks in her hand. However, the genjutsu disguised them as a bell and erased his from his side. He also cloaked the sound. This was no normal genjutsu. There was no way that genjutsu would affect his hearing like that without him noticing. Win, said Naruto. The boy seemed to have read his mind on what he was trying to find out. Kakashi realized that Naruto was able to manipulate the wind to affect his hearing so he wouldn't hear the bell jingling on his own waist. Kakashi was impressed. Truly, beyond impressed. He handed the bells right to the boy. Well then, he said, now that you have them, what are you going to do with them? Naruto tossed one to Sasuke, who got it, as he tossed one to Sakura. So you're going back? Well, not really, said Naruto. You did say, all we have to do is to have the bells. You didn't say that we have to keep them. Granted, the timer is not over just yet. Now, said Naruto. Sasuke grit his teeth, but he ran away. So did Sakura. So, you can still go and retrieve the bells away from them. And that would cancel out me ever having them because the timer would be over. But to do that, you're gonna have to get through me, said Naruto. Kakashi noticed that Naruto's stance seemed to change depending on the situation. As he watched as Naruto was changing his own body to match his own stance. The copy ninja was beyond impressed. At the office, Hiruzen Sarutobi was watching through his crystal ball. And he was impressed. Greatly so. Time skip. Please, don't do this. I'll give you... I'll pay you anything you desire. Just don't kill me. My work, it's very valuable. Please don't slice. The man that was begging for his life got his throat ripped open as he collapsed down on the ground. Well, now that that is over with, someone behind the killer said, let us head back. I got what we needed. The person that was standing there, the one that just ended that man's life, turned around to reveal that it was a young girl. As her blue eyes looked towards her partner that she was with. However, the strange thing that was on her face was the marks. 3 whisker marks. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.